Hey, it's Dorleen. Welcome to my channel and my creative life. I'm actually pulling out my junk journal today to do some painting. So I'm just flipping through right here. I thought I'd give you guys a quick look. There's a lot of empty pages. I know a lot of them look like they have started or I started things, but those are just kind of my painty pages that I put in my junk journal. But it's so fun to just kind of flip through and see, what do I have in here and what was I thinking when I put it together? And obviously looking for a place to put my newest piece of art. So I chose this sheet for whatever reason because I end up covering the entire thing, but that's fine. I'm just using some white gesso to put over the entire thing just so I can add some more color to it. I like to use credit cards or gift cards that have already been used or uploaded or however you want to word it. And I use it to scrape the paint, or in this case, the gesso, all over the blank page or the page that I'm working on. And I'm using my canvas that I just use as my paint palette. And you can see it's real messy and pretty, and I love it. There's no reason why I should use this as a palette, except for the fact that I just love the way it looks when it's all done. But the funny thing is you'll see later that my granddaughter decides she needs to use it and she makes it all one color, but you'll see that in a minute. Anyhow, I usually try to say I use mixed media when I'm in my junk journal, but I use 99% of this was acrylic paint. So basically I'm just painting in here. So I'm teaching a class later, in a few months, and I had this idea in my head, but also I wanted to kind of practice the painting of it because, of course, to teach a painting class, you have to at least experience it or know what you're doing. Now I'm doing something a little bit different because I'm making a wagon wheel, and in my class I'm going to be doing an actual bicycle wheel, but it's pretty much the same thing as far as the florals that I'm going to have going through it. So I'm, again, I mentioned I was using, 99% of this is acrylic paint. Well, my acrylic paint is in this big container that I keep downstairs. And my craft room, the command center, is upstairs. Now, I do have some acrylic paints in here because I do some things like this while I'm in my craft room, but I don't have a whole lot of colors. So you're going to see me mixing a lot and just kind of playing with different shading, things like that, which is perfectly fine because that's what you remember when you were in school, right? That red and yellow mixed together make orange, blue and red together make purple, that kind of stuff. And obviously, if you put a little bit of white with your main color, it's going to lighten it. If you put a little black, it's going to darken it, that kind of thing. You're also realizing as you're watching this that I did pretty much everything backwards. Like I really should have did the sky first. I don't know what I was thinking. So I had to go through all those little cracks of the wagon wheel and add some blue, and then you saw me accidentally put a little bit of green, so I'm trying to cover that up with some white. It's kind of messy, but it all kind of blends together. The thing with acrylic paint is as long as it's still a little wet, it all kind of blends easily. You can arrange your colors, blend your colors so that it's how you want it to look or not. Sometimes it's easier just to not have it blended, but in my case I needed it to be blended because otherwise it was splotches of either blue or white. And so as you can tell, just the more I was moving that paint around, the more it blended together. At this point, I'm no longer using my canvas as my paint palette because I mentioned earlier my granddaughter decided she needed it for whatever it is she was doing. So, if you have grandkids, you kind of know whatever they say goes. But I'm just using that plastic piece there that I used to protect my other pages from painting, and it worked fine for my paint palette. So here is my script stamp that I use for almost everything when I'm in my junk journal. If you are a follower of mine or a subscriber of mine, you have seen me use this many times, whether with ink or with paint. This time I just used my finger, put a little bit of white paint on it and stamped here and there. I don't even know if that script stamp even says anything that's actual words. I think it's more just the design of the script. But I didn't show it on camera, but I definitely gave it a good cleaning because I don't want the paint, drying in those crevices of that stamp because I do use it all the time. Now I'm working on some shadowing. So I just added, I didn't want solid blacks. I thought that was too dark. So I combined the dark brown with the black. And then I realized I was a little dark too. So then I just started making that wagon wheel darker. Again, just kind of playing with coloring and shading and not really knowing what I'm doing, but just kind of starting and stopping where I think it looks good. Oh, there's my canvas again. That's what I was talking about. Now it's just all green. But I'm going to tell you in a little bit, you're going to see me kind of messing around. But this ends up being like a really cool piece of art when I'm all done. As a matter of fact, I was kind of like, ooh, I'm kind of glad she changed that whole thing to green. But anyhow, back to the painting. So I can draw a daisy. I think all of us can, a little elementary looking daisy. But I kind of get lucky here and there on making other flowers. Mostly I'm just making things that I look like flowers. If you ask me what kind of flowers they were, I'd say there's no such thing. Obviously those those pink splotches are roses, or supposed to be roses. So I just put down a wonky kind of circle to act as the base. And then I use lighter and darker colors and even white later on to just add, like, I want to say either parentheses or commas or C's and backward C's, however you want to word it, to make it look like there's petals inside there. And like I mentioned before, I am just goofing around. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of adding colors. This, I'm kind of thinking lilacs, but again, are they? You know what I mean? So again, blue and red make purple, and that's what I messed around with on those. And I'm just adding color here and there. I'm adding some green, different shades of green, so that I have some greenery, which are leaves, stems, things like that. And I kind of thought about it too, is I wish I would have put maybe just some splotches of green prior to putting the flowers on, because then it would have given like a shadowy greenery behind it. But, whatever. Like I said, this junk journal of mine is for me to play. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And, honestly, if I really hated it, all I'd have to do is wait for it to dry and put more white gesso or white paint over the entire thing and start all over. But I do end up liking it. I don't love it, but I like it. I like it enough to keep it. And then as I was doing all those climbing roses and flowers, I thought, I just want to make some big old sunflowers. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm adding 2, and I'm just doing petals with some brown in the middle. Again, I wouldn't say I'm someone who knows how to draw or knows how to paint exact portraits of things, but definitely looking at this, you would be able to tell, yep, those are sunflowers, those are roses, those are daisies. And that's exactly what I'm just trying to do. Just something that looks like what it is and is pleasing to the eye, colorful, and just a lot of interest. So again, just messing around with colors, adding different shades of different blended colors. And just kind of keep on going. I use my hand dryer to dry a lot of that off. I realize I don't like that mustardy color of those sunflowers either. So I am going to change those into a lighter yellow. I did end up finding one that was up in my room, or in my craft room. So I was happy about that. I think I added a little white to it too, but you'll see in a minute. But anyhow, I hope you like this video. I know I'm just kind of talking over most of it, but you can just see I'm just kind of farting around, for lack of a better word, and just having fun. And that's what the nice thing is about these junk journals, is I feel like if I'm enjoying myself and being creative, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Again, if I absolutely hated this, I could just paint over it and start all over. But I actually really like it. So I'm going to keep on going and just pull out some stuff and just play. But if you do like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you aren't already, hit that subscribe button. I do post 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking, and the other is whatever it is I'm creating in the Command Center, which is the name of my craft room and also my blog. I'll have a link in the information box to my craft room. No, you can't have a link there. I'm not Scotty. I'm not going to beam you up. But to my blog, so you can check out other projects. Oh, and this is what I was talking about. Look at how cool that is. I think it's a little like Monet-ish. Now I know it's a stretch, but just the fact that it's so abstract, but yet those colors with that green background just really does look like a field of flowers, or flowers are laying there. I just love the way that looks. Now, come back later and you're going to see this is going to be all splotched up with different colors, as in the future. But for right now, it's really, really cool, or I think it's really, really cool. So here I pulled out a paint pen, and you could see that big old blob of yellow right there. And you know how, like, when you tell yourself, I knew I should have stopped when I was ahead because I'm trying to wipe it off, but no, you can see that yellow right there. I'm not going to let that bother me because you're going to see in a minute what I'm going to do to it. But I'm using that paint pen to just do some outlining. I did do a little splotching here and there, but I didn't end up liking it because those splatters were just too big. Now, the nice thing with this one right here that's on the wagon wheel is it's in a dark enough and also kind of alone by itself over there that I was able to kind of cover over that. I'm going to use some brown and just really kind of spread that out. So you can't really see that one, but you can see over there in my flower pile that there still is that yellow kind of blotchy thing. And you're going to see in a minute what I end up doing. And I was so happy with it because that was really driving me crazy. I did all that work and then I had that yellow stupid splotch right there. But I did a little bit of pen work or highlighting with that white paint pen. Now I'm doing some with the black paint pen. Now, since these are sunflowers, I'm just adding little dots in the middle to emulate like the seeds. I'm doing some outlining of that wagon wheel, and I was going to stop there, and then that doesn't happen. I just keep on going. I want to highlight, let me look at some of these petals or some dots here or there, and I'm just playing. And you know what? It's like, how do I say it? Like, the hardest part about doing anything creative is kind of knowing when to stop, right? And I feel like when I started adding these blacks, I thought, no, I do really like the addition of that. I think it just pops because of that black against all those bright colors. And again, I'm just kind of putting them here, there, and everywhere. I'm not like doing any like really harsh black lines, except for here, because this is what I decided to do with that yellow splotch. I'm making a bee. So there you go. You know, it's like my friend used to say, there are no accidents, just places or opportunities for embellishments, or I don't know how she used to say it, but it really is true. You can do something and think you just totally messed up your piece, and then one little difference, look at that, that's little bee right there, just makes a big difference, because now not only do we have the flowers and nature that way, but then we have that bee. So cute. Very simple, but very cute. And it looks like it belongs there. But again, if you like this, give me a thumbs up. And I hope you do decide to subscribe. Wow, I'm tongue-tied today. Sorry about that. Oh, and this is the 1% where that's probably not acrylic paint. I just decided to grab a pencil and I wrote really scribbly, I love all things nature. Thanks for watching. Bye.